So a few months back we got a leak for the Resident Evil 4 remake regarding the Merchant, stating he will have an expanded role in the remake. So the question is, what could this expanded role possibly be? In this video, that is what I will be discussing. But before we start, I would just like to say that I will be covering any future updates for the Resident Evil 4 remake. So if you would like to stay up to date with all the news, then maybe consider subscribing. Now with that out of the way, let's get right into the video. So who really is the Merchant? Resident Evil 4 was released back in 2005, and to this day we still do not know the true identity of the Merchant. However, what we do know is that he was a ganado that somehow managed to escape Sadler's control. It is likely that he was a greedy arms dealer who trained, stocked, and supplied Sadler's island base. Some humans were able to control the virus like Chief Mendez, Salazar, Sadler, and I think it's safe to say that the Merchant was able to also. So with that being said, once he saw what the virus was doing to everyone, maybe he decided to escape Sadler and look for a way to cleanse his body of the virus. Maybe this is why he was helping Leon along the way, because helping him would end up guiding him to a cure for the virus. If this theory is true, then the island could have been where him and the Duke met, and maybe the Duke managed to escape as well. Another one of the more well-known theories is that the Merchant is Luis's grandfather. Chief Mendez leaves a note that you can find in the game that says he cannot seem to tell Luis Sarah properly throughout the village. He suspects that Sarah used the same passageways his grandfather used to utilize back in the day. Now, as we've seen in the game, the Merchant is very familiar with the entire village layout, even the hidden passageways, since we find him in every location. So this note definitely shows a connection between the Merchant and Luis's grandfather. Mendez also stated, should the grandfather be alive, he would have used him as leverage to lure Sarah out. So Mendez's notes already imply that Sarah's grandfather had died at some point before the game. However, characters such as Ada Wong and Wesker have a knack of faking their deaths to appear in future Resident Evil games. So with that being said, it's not far-fetched for Sarah's grandfather to do the same. Maybe he faked his death to escape Sadler, and he's now helping Leon and Ada to get back at Sadler. Now these are just a few theories on the Merchant, but now the question is, how could his role be expanded upon in the Resident Evil 4 remake? First idea could be him aiding Leon in a few fights. With the Merchant being an arms dealer, I think it's safe to say he knows how to handle a gun. Now I wouldn't expect him to aid Leon throughout the entire game, but maybe a few of the major fight sequences. There were plenty of times in the game that the Merchant was set up right next to a huge battle sequence, specifically with the cabin fight. The Merchant set up shop right in front of the bridge, and as Leon and Ashley cross, they turn around to see a mob of villagers chasing them, and it was never revealed where the Merchant went. Once again, just theories. So instead, as they cross, the Merchant can yell to run, and they go into the cabin, and Luis, Leon, and the Merchant all fend off the zombies. And if the Merchant is indeed Luis's grandfather, this would be a great opportunity for some interesting dialogue exchanges. Another cool battle would be on the island when Mike was aiding Leon in battle. This was another pretty big fight sequence, and with the Merchant's huge gun collection, it would make for a pretty interesting sequence of events. And if this is something they end up doing, I would also love to see him as a playable character in the Mercenaries game mode. Now the next thing I could see Capcom doing is expanding on his lore. Like I said, Resident Evil 4 was released in 2005, and yet we still know little to nothing about the Merchant. I have heard a lot of fans want the Merchant to remain mysterious, since that is what makes him such an interesting and loved character, but after the release of Resident Evil 8, I think Capcom has other plans. The Duke quoted the familiar phrase, "What are you buying?" saying it was something an old friend of his used to say. Ever since that, we know that there is more to the Merchant than meets the eye. And what's interesting is there actually was leaks stating that the Resident Evil 4 remake will have a lot of lore connections with Resident Evil 2, 3, and 8. So if this leak is true, then I do believe we will finally learn the truth about the Merchant and how him and the Duke have connections. Also, going back to my point earlier stating he could have originally been a greedy arms dealer on Sadler's Island, if this is indeed true, it would be cool if there was a DLC for the Merchant taking place on this island. And here we could see Sadler's virus start to take over the island and turn people. The Merchant being able to control it, he would decide to escape. In this DLC, we would see him sneak his way off of the island by fending off zombies along the way. Now my next idea slash theory goes along with the Merchant being Luis's grandfather. As we know, Luis did not get the screen time he deserved, even though he played a significant role on this game. So a lot of fans want a separate campaign story for Luis. Luckily, leaks do suggest that Luis will get more plot relevance in the remake. So if this is implying that he will get his own story, and if the Merchant is indeed Luis's grandfather, then it would make sense if the two of them teamed up in this campaign. Maybe this tag team could be something similar to Chris and Sheva teaming up in Resident Evil 5. If this was the case, it would be a great opportunity to learn more about the Merchant. So guys, these are just a few ways I think the merchant's role could be expanded in the remake. But what do you guys think? How do you think Capcom might expand his role in the remake? Make sure to let me know down in the comments below. And also, if you have any theories regarding the merchant, I would love to hear them in the comments below as well. But anyways, that is going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Peace.